there are ways that a man is also expected to submit to his woman. View your submission as this prized possession that not every person is deserving of.
I may be young, but I'm ready to give you all my love.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Michelleamoree, and if you are new here, hi, hello, welcome. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about submission. Oh my gosh, yes, submission. For some reason, like that word, it just causes people to just have such an emotional reaction to it. You have feminists, pro-wominists, whomever else you want to put in that category, and they just detest and abhor it and think it's such a misogynistic principle. And then you have more conservative people on the other end, and they praise submission, and they believe that a woman should be submissive in every single aspect of her being to men. In this video, I kind of want to talk about more of like the gray area of this whole submission debate. As always, your opinion is yours, my opinion is mine. The purpose of this video is for us to engage in some dialogue, some girl talk about this topic of submission, share our thoughts and ideas on it, and for me to give my own 2 cents on the topic of submission and the role I believe it should or shouldn't play in a relationship. Now, getting into this video, submission is like one of those topics that makes its rounds in social media every couple of months. It's like either that or the 50-50 debate. Like in some kind of variation, they always make their rounds. So most recently, there is a girl by the name of Jasmine Brown who is currently dating Cam Newton, who I think is like a football player or whatever. She went on Shambooty's podcast and was interviewed by her, and I'll leave a clip for you guys to go ahead and get a little snippet of what she said in that interview.
What does a submissive woman do for her man?
Everything.
What does that mean?
You know, like packing his bag, unpacking his bag, just making sure all the things that he wants, and like I pretty much read his mind.
So a smaller clip of the video was actually circulated through TikTok, also made its rounds on Instagram through the Shade Room, and Shambooty also posted a segment of the full interview on her YouTube channel. And it has sparked so much debate. You have people saying that she's in some toxic, crazy relationship, others applauding her and saying, yes, that's what a real woman should do and that's how she should be. Now, for me personally, my first thoughts about the interview were a bit all over the place. One, I had to go ahead and see, like, is she married to this man that she's doing all these different things for, and, you know, going out of her way, like, sexually, emotionally, and in every kind of way possible to please and satisfy him? How long they've been together? Are they married? You know, things that, you know, matter. And to my surprise, with everything she was saying and just, you know, how she goes out of her way to make sure he's happy and, you know, cater to her man and everything, she is a girlfriend to this man. Now, before y'all get your panties in a hunch, I want my first point in this video to be about the importance of protecting your womanhood. And on that topic of protection, this video is actually kindly sponsored by Aura. So do you know what the fastest growing crime is in America? For years, this crime rate has been surging and affecting the lives of millions of Americans. So I'm talking about identity theft, and there's a new victim every 14 seconds. Yet, despite this, those who've had their identity stolen end up shocked or surprised that it happened to them. Like, imagine logging into your email account just to see that your password had changed, and then you start getting notifications from your bank, crypto, and credit card accounts. And that's when the feelings of pain, fear, paranoia really start to set in. And that's why I'm super excited to partner with Aura, who is sponsoring today's video. So Aura is identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management software, all combined into one easy to use app. Aura monitors the dark web for your emails, password, and social security number, and sends alerts super fast straight to your phone and email. You see, when it comes to like fraud, every second matters. With Aura, you can connect your credit card and bank accounts and get notified of any changes up to 4 times faster than Aura's competitors. Their VPN allows you to stay anonymous online, by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. And their antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they affect your devices. So Aura has a 14-day free trial where you can go ahead and register, connect your information, and see if there are any breaches in regards to your social security, credit cards, and other pertinent information that belongs to you. After signing up for their 14-day free trial, comment down below and share how many breaches you found of your sensitive information on the dark web. All information concerning Aura will be linked down below in my description box, and I'd like to thank Aura for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so the topic of protection. Yes, we protect our social security, we protect our credit card information, all of that, but I think as women it's most important to protect your hearts and to guard your hearts. And I think when it comes to the topic of submission, first of all, I'm not even going to speak on it in this video from like a Christian religious perspective, since it's often talked about in a more worldly sense. Let's go ahead and keep that conversation in that context. But even with that, I think it's important for women not to allow the understanding of what submission is to cause them to be in a position where you're being taken advantage of by men who are touting this ideology of women needing to be submissive, knowing that they're not men worth submitting to. And that's the real tea about this conversation. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a submissive woman. And I would actually like to think, and you know, obviously that's something I continue to work on and aim to improve on and do better, but I like to think I'm a pretty submissive woman. I like to think that I do my best to cater to my man, to make him feel loved, to make him feel nurtured and cared for and respected. And there's so many ways to do that. In the interview, she was talking about like, oh, I do all his cooking and his laundry and he doesn't lift a finger basically and all that kind of stuff. And that's all good and great, but submission is just so much more than feeding your man a meal every day. I do that. His mama does that. His mama could do that. Shoot, he could do that. I think submission as a woman, it goes beyond just that. And I think one thing about social media, people love to take a narrative and like run with it and kind of like limit submission to kind of being a servant basically. But it's just so much more profound to that. The way I view submission is a mutual and reciprocal decision and commitment to honoring your spouse, honoring their needs, honoring their desires. And the thing about it is that it's a reciprocal thing. It's not just a submissive woman and a dominant man. There are ways that a man is also expected to submit to his woman. A hardworking father who goes out into the world and, you know, makes money to keep the light on, pay the rent, is submitting to his family, is submitting to his wife by making sure there's money for her to even cook the damn groceries she's gonna cook for him and feed him. Like, that's also submission. But the way social media likes to shape the narrative of these things is that submission is just a woman, you know, basically living out Beyonce's or Destiny's Child's cater to you. But it's a mutual thing. It's a reciprocal act of submission. And here's the thing, when it comes to the idea of protecting your heart and protecting yourself as a woman and as a woman who chooses to be a submissive woman to her man, you have to understand and you have to realize whether or not that's a man worth submitting to. You're not supposed to be out here submitting to any type of man who comes around and says, oh, you need to be a submissive woman in order for me to, you know, find you to be valuable or find you to be a woman of interest. I can go ahead and say for myself personally, I've always been that type of girl. Like, my love language is catering to you. Like, if I love you, listen, I don't want you to lift a finger. I love and I enjoy taking care of household chores, feeding you, all those types of things. But my issue and where I got things kind of wrong while I was dating is that I kind of allowed that to kind of be the way I dated men who weren't even deserving of that. And it had to get to a point where I made a commitment to myself. Like, I was like, look, I'm not cooking another darn thing for a man that is not my husband and a man that I am not seriously committing myself to. Because it's like, as a woman, I was giving myself away, doing all these different things, satisfying certain needs and stuff like that. But that man hadn't even submitted to me. He hadn't even submitted to me through commitment, through honoring and guarding and safeguarding and protecting my heart through the comfort and through the security of a committed relationship. And so that's really important as a woman. View your submission as this prized possession that not every person is deserving of. Give that and reserve that submission for a man who is truly worth it. And so I thought it was pretty interesting in the video. You know, I'm not really here to knock or shame anybody, but honestly, as Black women, honestly, as a community, we need to do better. Like, sis is in this video, in this interview, talking about all these different, some explicit things, you know, she's coming out of her comfort zone to do, and some things that she herself doesn't even necessarily enjoy, but because he enjoys it, she decides to do it and submit to him in that manner. But this man hasn't even submitted to you through commitment. This man hasn't submitted to you by putting a ring on your finger, by choosing to marry you. So it's like, you have to be very cautious and very careful of how you choose to navigate relationships as a submissive woman, and understanding and realizing that submission isn't deserving to any and everybody. And this is not even to say, like, just because, you know, he hasn't made you a wife or something, you can't do certain things for him. You can't, you know, do his laundry every now and then. You can't cook for him. Because I'll go ahead and say this. I think one of the first few dates I had with my fiance, he told me his favorite dish was rice and stew. Baby, I had never in my life cooked rice and stew. I was still living at home, you know, eating my parents' food. I didn't cook too much. Every now and then, yes, but I never cooked rice and stew myself. After he told me his favorite food was rice and stew, I was on YouTube trying to learn how to cook rice and stew. I got home, I figured it out, whipped up a little rice and stew or whatever, and drove over to his apartment and gave it to him. Just kind of like surprised him with it the next time I came out to see him. And I think for me, although I had promised myself that I would never ever cook for a man ever again, I came to realize that the issue wasn't even so much like the cooking in and of itself. The issue was the choice of men that I was choosing to give access to my energy, to my femininity, to my submissiveness. Those men weren't deserving of that. So the issue isn't so much my heart and my willingness and how I love to cater and things of that nature. The real problem lies in the decision making and being able to decipher whether or not that's a man deserving of that side of me, deserving of that energy for me. And with my man, the energy was completely different. From the jump, I felt safe because there was a committed relationship. I knew what his intentions were for me. I knew he wasn't just some other guy and he treated me as like just another girl. So when he submitted to me in terms of commitment, in terms of making me feel safe and secure in the relationship, I was then able to reciprocate that submission and do so in a feminine manner that for me looks like cooking, wanting to spend time with you, wanting to do certain household chores and stuff like that. So I didn't necessarily need the ring in order to do that, but I was already submitted to through the commitment, through knowing the serious intentions he had towards me. And so for women, I think it's just so important for us to really safeguard and protect ourselves, because here's where the problem is and where a lot of women end up being bitter and upset and hurt. It's when you end up giving yourself to people, to men who aren't deserving of that from you. And so then you end up leaving the situation feeling cheated, feeling as if you gave so much of yourself and he did not reciprocate. That's when that submission really, really hurts. So definitely be sure to safeguard and protect yourself from that. Now, something I did want to talk about is just this kind of idea of like feminism and the feminist movement and this idea of submission. And to be honest, I feel like that's why it's really important to like learn and study different things for yourself and not just take things that you see in social media and out in the world, because these feminist type ideology will really have you thinking that for you as a woman to serve your man his plate or to do his laundry laundry, you're allowing him to treat you like his slave, and he's giving in to misogyny and things of that nature. Free yourself from that ideology. Free yourself from feeling that because you choose to cater to a man that you love, that provides you with protection, that equally submits to you, that you're for some reason putting yourself super low and degrading yourself. Let that ish go. What I did like in the interview was how she talked about the way she took pride in how she took care of her man, and as if that was like some kind of flex for her. And to be quite honest, like, I agree. Like, I feel like it definitely, especially in a world where you see a lot of women and where it's so popular to say things like men ain't ish, talk down on men, especially black men, I think it really is a flex to be able to say, you know, I found a really good man and I love and I enjoy submitting to him. I enjoy catering to him. I enjoy taking care of him. I feel like you have a lot of people who, just because they haven't been able to experience what it feels like to submit to somebody you feel secure and safe with, because they don't know what that feels like or what that looks like, they then choose to demonize people who choose to do that for their partner, for their spouse. And honestly, if you're a woman and you know you have a good man, let all that ish go to the wayside. Ignore all of that. Ignore society. Ignore, goodness. It's like people rather applaud a woman who disgraces and disrespects her man than a woman who chooses to say, no, like, this is a good man and I'm going to do good right by him. Definitely don't allow that to cause you to waver in the way you choose to submit. And here's the thing about submission. Submission looks so different for so many different people, and that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, relationships are meant to be tailored to fit the needs of you and your spouse. So what really matters here is doing what works for your relationship. And I think it's also funny when you kind of hear people call women who choose to be more submissive, call them pick-me's and things of that nature. And to be honest, the term pick-me doesn't really do nothing to me. Like, yes, I'm a proud pick-me. Yes, pick me. Take me off these damn streets. Pick me. But it's like, don't allow a lot of that nonsense name calling and stuff to cause you to leave your nature. Because the truth of the matter, I think we as women naturally, especially when we're in our feminine state, we love to nurture. We love to take care of. We love to be submissive. Like, it's just something that comes naturally to you when you're in the presence of a man who's deserving of that, of a masculine man who makes you feel safe and protected. So don't allow current society and social media and things of that nature to influence you to deviate from your nature. But yes, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Please go ahead and share down below your thoughts on this topic. I would love to hear. Let's chat. Once again, thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. You can go ahead and find the link to the website and a free 14-day trial in the description box. Please go ahead and give this video a like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag too. Oh, you a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag too.